Hello, I am Shara Gorbani, the founder and director of Project Control Academy, where we help you master your knowledge and skills in project controls. Today, I have the honor of talking to Mark from Safran. So, before talking about Safran and this great risk management tool, Mark, can you tell us a little bit more about the challenges of project control industry and what, in your opinion, what challenges we are currently facing in the industry?
Sure. Okay. I think there's a couple of big challenges going on right now. One is that despite all our best efforts to control projects, the reality is that they're still going over budget and finishing late. And oftentimes it's a misunderstanding of the risks that are inherent in those projects and a lack of understanding them and being able to mitigate them in an effective way to avoid those overruns. I think that's one area, and that's exactly why we've developed a solution called Safran Risk. It's kind of breaking the boundaries in the way that risk management is managed, principally around the philosophy of the need to integrate cost and schedule risk management together as a composite function. And we're the only solution at the moment that's tackling that. The other challenge that we're seeing is just with some of the very, very large complex projects, and by complex I mean the thing that's being delivered is complex, but also the way that it's being delivered, often with multiple different contractors working together. And what we're sometimes seeing is just with that great level of complexity, people can't always get the right insight that they need to steer and control that project in a meaningful way. And that's exactly what we're trying to tackle with Safran Project. It's a very sophisticated, powerful tool which enables all of the different reports and views to be contained in a single solution. So we kind of talk about a unified solution. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah. So, talking about the integration, you brought up a very good point regarding the cost and schedule risk analysis because, based on the tools that I have used before, they were two separate things or two separate tools that we were working on. Can you give us more information about how the integration happens in one tool?
Sure, yeah. So we did a pretty neat thing. We really we took our very sophisticated schedule management solution and we embedded it directly in a risk management solution. So then in one single composite solution, you have the ability to model different risk scenarios and immediately in real time see the impact on the schedule. And that speed means that our customers tell us that they can manage risks in a completely different way. So in a single workshop, they can kind of throw ideas and scenarios and in real time see the output and figure out, does that make sense or not? So they're engaging in risk management in a much more user-friendly, logical way than they ever used to.
So, I assume your schedule should be resource loaded to be able to incorporate both cost and schedule risk analysis into it, right? Or your modules will be able to even analyze the cost estimate separately.
So the answer is yes to both of those different scenarios.
Okay, awesome. And another question I have for you is about the challenge in terms of the implementation of this tool. Let's say someone wants to have Safran in their company, and what would be the number one challenge that they will face in terms of implementing the tool?
Okay, so I think with Safran Risk, I think the challenge is always going to be understanding what is the impact of the risk. So it's a kind of a garbage in, garbage out situation. You've got to have some knowledge of risk in order to be able to do the modeling effectively. So I think that's something that people need to consider. But equally, I'd say you've got to start. I mean, if you ignore risks at all, then you're back to the problem that we face, which is, projects are going horribly, in some cases, over budget and late. So I wouldn't say don't start tackling it. I would say start tackling it and just live with the fact that initially your knowledge of all the risks might be immature, but with time it's gonna become mature. So I think that's the challenge with Safran Risk. I think with Safran Project, as I mentioned before, it's very, very powerful. all it means is that users need to think carefully about what problems and challenges are we trying to control, because that will affect how you set up your project. What kind of user-defined fields do we need? So it's interesting. I mean, we see a lot of different clients have very, very different looking project schedules and reports because their projects are different, right? No projects are the same.
Exactly.
So that's what it's not a challenge. I just think you've got to take the time to think about what is the nature of my project, what are my biggest challenges, and that will steer how you set up a Safran project.
And are they two separate tools, like Safran Project as compared to Safran Risk? Can you just give us the distinction between the two?
Yes, they are separate. I mean, you can buy one or the other or both.
Okay.
Cleverly, Safran Project is kind of embedded inside of Safran Risk, which is what gives us that holistic capability that we talked. The ability to do both inside a single tool.
But what's the focus of Safran Project?
In what sense?
I mean, is it just a scheduling tool? Is it a cost tool? Is it both? Is it an integrated tool? I didn't quite get the Safran Project.
Okay, so it's a scheduling tool. You would ideally build your costs through sort of resource cost loading your activities and tasks. So you have the ability to kind of forecast costs throughout the project, and then it has the ability to kind of track. And we've also got some abilities to have really easy updating through a web-based solution as well. So we can kind of do progress reporting very, very easily.
Okay, very nice. So another question I have for you, that was the question from our audience, was regarding the artificial intelligence and data management. I know it's a kind of trendy talk lately.
It is.
So how do you see Safran incorporating those in the future in the products?
Yeah. So first of all, I think when people talk about artificial intelligence, I think it is a buzzword. I mean, you actually need to be able to create a knowledge artifact inside of the software,
right,
and be able to reference that to do artificial intelligence. That's incredibly difficult. I know everybody is striving towards it. We're not there yet. Honestly, the size of the computing power you'd need to be able to have a solution like that, it wouldn't sit inside of a desktop and be useful for most project controllers. So I think, unfortunately, that is probably, we're a step or two away from that. My personal opinion is that where we're going is that we need to, across the industry, to have some kind of a common framework to be able to kind of capture and share data in a healthy way, to be able to have learned experiences from other projects and be able to digest them and utilize them inside whatever tool a project controls practitioner is using. So I think AACE, for example, is doing some great things, and we're talking about that at this conference now, able to kind of have that kind of framework. So I think that's the first phase, Having said that, I think today, if organizations capture enough knowledge about their own projects, there's some terrific data mining that you could do inside of Safran Risk. So when you talk about big data, I think that is a reality if you've got enough, data inside of your own projects today.
Okay, very good point. So you kind of captured another question I have for you. Where do you see the trend in project controls? You kind of captured that, but is there anything else you want to add?
No, just a reminder, the audience, that integrating risk and cost and schedule risk analysis is the way to go. Awesome. And that's available now.
Thank you very much, Mark, for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay.